But I wanted to start a little bit with Tottenham today because they obviously brought Big Ange in, and I've seen Patrick getting cooked and losing followers because he slagged it off. There are some Spurs fans that are kind of, I don't know, they're maybe pretending a little bit like they're over the moon with this, but they're linked with two really good signings today. David Raya and James Maddison, and according to the Telegraph, Ange Postecoglou, I think that's how it's pronounced, has given Tottenham the green light to make a £50 million bid for James Maddison. Talk to me.
15 or 50, you mean?
50. If they do a deal like that, I mean, that's big business for them. James Maddison, does he move the needle enough at Tottenham for you?
I mean, here's the thing. What last season has taught me is I'm never going to back Tottenham ever again. I was backing Tottenham heavy. I said, if Liverpool and City somehow fall off, Tottenham are going to be in the title race. I was just fully backing them and stuff. And it just came back to bite me, to be honest with you. With Postecoglou, he was the former Australia manager. So I watched him, of course, in the Asian Cup. Jordan beat them as well, by the way. Hold that. When it comes to Postecoglou, listen, it's just like it's just, you know what it is, Terry. I don't even want to be an a-hole today. I'm just calm. I'm happy, but I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, bro. Spurs, it's just like you get Mourinho, you get Conte, it doesn't work. Okay, you go down the Nuno Santo, who's Premier League proven, it also doesn't work. You then go and you get this Postecoglou guy, and when it comes to Maddison and Raya, yeah, they both would be great signings. But at the same time, no one can deny we sat here last summer and we thought Bissouma was going to be a great signing. We thought Richarlison was going to be a great signing. We thought all of these guys were going to be a great signings, and it just doesn't work out for them. But when it comes to Maddison, look, he's a great player. When it comes to him personally, from the team that, of course, when Leicester, got relegated, which probably is a shock to everyone still. I think he's probably the prize out of that entire squad. He's the prize. He's the guy that you would ask probably 90% of Premier League fans, and they'd have. I'd take him at Liverpool. Probably many people would take him at United. Many people would take him at Arsenal, at multiple different clubs. So I think with Maddison, like, he makes everyone better. But with Spurs, I just don't trust them as an institution. I know they're about to get something wrong. I know they're about to mess something up. And from Raya's perspective, is Brentford to Spurs that much of a step up? Is it a step up, really? They're a big six club, but honestly, like, they're both competing for nothing. At least with Brentford, you get like props, you get respect. People go like Brentford Football Club, they're doing really well this season. They're actually in the top 10. People are putting respect on their name. When it comes to Spurs, no one respects them. No one cares. And it's just I refuse to fall for any Spurs hype anymore. I'm just not going to do it to myself, because when I fell for it last summer, it bit me in the ass. So I'll be damned if I get bit again. But Maddison's a fantastic signing if he goes through, of course.
Yeah, look, Maddison, we know how good a footballer he is. We actually know how good David Raya is. I think on paper, these two signings for Tottenham are class. But you're right. What's it going to amount to? We have seen Spurs, whether it's last summer, the summer. I've seen Tottenham have so many transfer windows in my life where Tottenham fans, the media, even rivals have gone, wow, they could be a threat. I always remember, and I don't know exactly when this was now, but Jose was still the manager of Tottenham. And I remember sitting outside, there's a big Tesco's in Leytonstone where I grew up, and I was waiting for someone. I don't even remember who, probably was my brother. And I was listening to Talk Sport, and they were speaking about how Jose, this is probably like 08, 09, I'm saying Martin Yol days. And Jose, no, it would have been slightly before that because Jose was still the Chelsea manager. Jose tipped them to be the dark horse of the season to challenge. And I just remember everybody always buzzing. Go back to 2016 when they signed Sissoko, Janssen, Victor Wanyama. That was going to be enough to make him challengers. Then when they got Serge Aurier and they got Davinson Sanchez, they were going to another level. A couple of years later, when they signed Ndombele and they got Bergwijn in the January, they were looked at as, wow, these guys are going to make us. That summer where they got Reguilon, where they got Doherty, they got Højbjerg, they got Lo Celso. Again, every single summer, they sign players who, from the outside looking in, people go, wow. I think 2015 was really good. Son, Tokyo de Vireld, Trippier as an example. But you go back, I'm looking back through their transfer windows now, and when they sign the players, oh, the summer when they got Lamella, Soldado, Paulinho, you know, Etienne Capoue. It was just every time with Tottenham for some reason.
Every single one of those summers, people were excited about
Great.
Spurs. Every single one of them. Every single one you just mentioned, people were excited about Spurs. That's my thing. So like I'm just sat here going like, okay, Hussam, listen, this has slapped you in the face probably 5-6 times already. Are you gonna get excited? Let's assume they get Maddison. Let's assume they get Raya. Okay, and what? You're probably gonna end up selling Kane if you know the bids go through to whoever. You end up selling Kane. Then how are you gonna replace his goals? By the way, Kane has had an unbelievable season. Goes under the radar because Haaland broke the record, but he scored 30 Premier League goals. So now, how are you gonna replace 30 goals? How are you gonna replace Harry Kane's impact? Are Tottenham gonna finally do the right thing? Because we both know that Tottenham are not gonna sell Kane and buy Osimhen. Tottenham are going to sell Kane, use that same Kane money to buy 4 or 5 players, which we know. And I can use my own club as an example, just so people don't take it personally. When we sold Suarez, we went and we bought 7-8 players, and it amounted to nothing. You have to replace quality with quality. You cannot replace quality with quantity. That's just
and it's also about the mentality of the club. And you said something earlier, and I want to echo it. I've just been thinking and dwelling on it. I think David Raya is stupid to join Tottenham.
Agreed.
Yes, he might earn more money. Yes, there may be more media attention, but it's going to amount to no trophies. I think this appointment of Big Ange is going to be a disaster.
Mhm.
Yes, he plays pretty football, but that's just such a bad barometer, in my opinion. They're ignoring his lack of experience. They're ignoring his lack of time at. Look, I've had a few Celtic fans message me and say we're a bigger club than Spurs. Historically, yes, but the level of football in Scotland is below that of the Championship, in my view. Celtic wouldn't win. Celtic are not better than Burnley that have just come up, as an example. They wouldn't win the Championship, in my view, which is why Scotland loses a lot of its top players to the Championship. Before that, the guy was managing in Japan and spent time managing semi-pro clubs in Australia. He's 57 years of age. He isn't a young pup, 40 years old, on his way to the top. He's managed for a few years in Australia, then moved to Europe. This is a man who, in 10 years' time is looking to retire. It's going to be a disaster. And David Raya and James Maddison, they should steer so far away from Tottenham. It's unbelievable, because it's all going to either going to end in complete and utter tears, or they're just going to be mid. They're just going to be sitting there. Yes, they'll have a prettier stadium than Brentford. They'll have a better stadium maybe than Newcastle, with Maddison, because he's got an option to go to Newcastle. But what are you actually going to achieve? We saw last night West Ham fans, West Ham players, West Ham backroom staff in floods of tears, because winning trophies is the ultimate barometer for legacy. It's the ultimate achievement. Declan Rice and Bowen, and everybody else on that football pitch, they're going to remember that night more than any derby game, any goals, any records. That night will live on in their memory forever and a day. That doesn't happen. James Maddison goes to Tottenham. It's almost like Kane signing a new deal. You are subjecting yourself to failure for the rest of your career. So for me, don't do it. Stay away, because you've got bigger and better clubs with more ambition looking at you. Please don't go to Tottenham. That's my plea. Genuinely.
You know what it is, Terry? David Raya is never going to be as attractive as he is now. That's also another thing. David Raya is never going to be as sought after as he is now, because so many top clubs like yours as well need a goalkeeper right now. When is David Raya even going to get this opportunity from a future perspective? When this is opportunity, like David Raya is now looked at like, okay, so let's assume for the sake of argument, the United Costa thing falls through. Somehow something happens and Costa to United is off. Maybe Porto is asking for too much money or whatever. He could end up at Man United. He could end up at much better clubs. There are many clubs who need goalkeepers. And now David Raya is looked at like he can pass. He's a very good shot stopper, blah, blah, blah. His market value, his respect, if you would like, in the market is never going to be this high. So for him to waste that and go to Spurs, with all due respect to the Spurs fan, I see someone in the comment section earlier on going like, oh, you guys are negative towards Spurs. Terry just spoke on 5-6 windows where I say we, because even myself included, we fell for it. So all I'm saying this summer is I'm refusing to fall for it again. I'm just not. Because my thing is, how many times have we seen all of this? You still remember the summer they signed Paulinho and Soldado, and some people like, oh, Soldado's a boy, proven goal scorer, all of that. Like people getting hyped. And then what? It amounted to nothing. And the next one, it amounted to nothing. And the one after that, it amounted to nothing. So I think David Raya, he'd be making a huge mistake right now. He has a big chance of ending up at a much better club and a much better situation for him too. If he wants to become Spain's goalkeeper, that's another thing.
I was about to say this. You look at the situation with Martinez at Arsenal going to Villa. Look, he's won a World Cup, and that's because he's good enough to be Argentina's number one. So his career, he'll always have that. And he was probably the best goalkeeper at the World Cup. That save in the dying moments. Wow. League-wise, he should have stayed at Arsenal. But I think he went thinking, oh, this will be better for me. Arsenal were a fading club. Villa are on the way up. And then Villa went and employed Steven Gerrard. And maybe now Villa are going to go on to do some things, but they're not going to catch Arsenal. He should have stayed at Arsenal. And I look at David Raya and think, don't be sort of seduced by Daniel Levy's lies, the beautiful new stadium, and the promises, because everyone in the last 2 decades has been promised great things at Tottenham and have delivered a League Cup. And that was in 2008, which was a long time ago. In the last 2 decades, everybody gets promised the world and nobody gets delivered. Listen, Spain, Man United are supposedly interested in him. More chance of winning with us. I want us to go and get Costa over him. But at the same time, push for a club that might win something. And if they don't, go to a club where sort of the ambition matches the promises. Because Spurs are going to promise you the world, and they're going to promise you champagne and give you lemonade. It's as simple as that. So we'll see what happens with it. He's not the Spain number. Where is he in the list of Spanish? Is he like the third choice goalkeeper for Spain?
I think he might be, but he's up there, which is what I'm saying. Now, if he makes the right move, it makes him that goalkeeper.